다음 세 번째 강연을 해주실 Dr. 티나 아미니에 대해 말씀드리겠습니다. Dr. 티니 아미니는 현재 다양한 의료기기 적합성 평가 및 품질관리 시스템 현장 평가를 담당하고 있는 Notified Body and Pharmaceutical and Medical Device Expert로서 수석 감사관으로 수장을 역임을 해 오셨고, 현재는 글로벌 컨설팅 그룹인 NDA 그룹의 의료기기 부서의 디렉터를 맡고 계십니다. 강연 내용은 유럽의 의료기기 규정뿐만 아니라 융복합 의료제품의 전반에 걸쳐서 유럽 시장을 진출하고자 하는 분들에게 규제 지식에 대해서 강연을 해 주시겠습니다. 강연 제목은 Drug Device Combination Products in the EU and the Impact of the New EU Medical Device Regulation입니다. 네, 큰 환영 부탁드리겠습니다.
Good morning, I'm Tina Amini, and today I will be talking about the drug-device combinations in the EU and covering the impact of the new EU medical device regulation, which came into full application on 26th of May 2021. I will be covering definition of combination products, their classification and importance of the classification, applicable legislation, how decisions are made in EU on borderline products, EU market access for medicines combined with a device, and different type of combination products. I will also cover impact of the new medical device regulation on non-reusable single integral combination products. So what is a combination product? You should know in Europe, combination products are not defined, but the term combination product is mentioned in the scope of the medical device regulation. My presentation will be focusing on combination of medical devices and medicines. You should know that in Europe, products are regulated either under medical device or medicinal product legislation. So it is important to identify the regulatory pathway for your product at the onset of the project correctly. Now let's look at some examples of medicine and medical device combinations. Products such as antibacterial plaster, a drug-coated vascular balloon, pre-filled heparin syringe, or preloaded inhaler, basically are combination products. So why the classification is so important? Is it because in Europe, there are two different regulatory systems for medicinal products and medical devices. Medical devices must be CE marked before market access, while medicinal products should have marketing authorization for market access. Medical devices are subject to a conformity assessment by notified body, except for class 1, while products that are medicinal products are assessed and authorized by competent authorities. And there are implications as well, depending on whether the combination product is regulated under medicinal product legislation or under medical device legislation, such as regulatory compliance and requirements. For example, the requirement for manufacturing site or clinical trials are different. Data exclusivity and intellectual property reimbursement rules in some member states can differ. So now let's look at the applicable legislation for each. As you can see on this slide, medicines and devices are regulated under different directive or regulations. So let's look at the EU definition of medicinal product. Any substance or combination of substances presented for treating or preventing disease in human beings, or any substance or combination substances used in or administered to human beings, either with a view to restore, correct, or modify physiological functions, and this is the important part, by exerting a pharmacological, immunological, or metabolic actions. And also those products that are used for making a medical diagnosis in vivo. And on this slide, the definition of EU medical device under the new MDR is presented. I acknowledge there are too much text, but the important part, which I'd like to draw your attention to, has been highlighted. And that is the product which does not achieve principal action by pharmacological, immunological, or metabolic means, however, can be assisted in its function by these means. And here are some examples of medical devices, such as empty syringe, medical apps, a prosthesis, or infusion pumps. So now combination product regulatory pathway. The regulatory pathway depends on the product classification. And in order to classify a combination product, you need to establish the principal mode of action of the product. Does the product achieve its principal or primary mode of action in or on human body by pharmacological, immunological, or metabolic means? Or is it achieved by physical or simple chemical means or digital means? What is the intended purpose of the product and what claims are made? Also, how is it presented to the public through labeling, packaging, promotional literature, and advertisement? And as I mentioned, there is no specific regulation for combination product. However, for such products, the two legislation meshes together. So what happens when the classification is not straightforward? In such scenarios, the manufacturer can seek advice from the medicine or medical device authority, who will make a decision based on scientific evidence on the mechanism of action of the product, taking into account all characteristics of the product on a case-by-case. They will also look at the product literature and promotional materials. However, where there is a complex case and the product is a borderline, consultation with other member states could be necessary. In EU, there is a procedure called Helsinki procedure, where one competent authority can send out a request to other member state authorities to obtain an EU-wide opinion on a particular issue. Details of this procedure can be found in this link that I have put on this presentation. And finally, in the cases of doubts, the medicine definition takes precedent, and this has been specified in Article 2 of Directive 2001/83, which is for medicinal product. And remember that the competent authority in a member state can challenge a classification for its own market. There are guidelines with examples which can help you to decide if your product is a medicinal product or a medical device, and this slide provides a couple of these guidelines. So now let's look at the EU market access for medicines combined with a device. Combination products can be put into two groups at the top level, integral or non-integral. Integral combination themselves, depending on the primary mode of action, can be regulated either as a device or as a medicinal product. If the combination has got the primary mode of action is device, then the combination is regulated under medical device regulation. And for those where the medicinal product has got the principal or primary mode of action, the whole combination is regulated as a medicinal product. Non-integral combinations are those where medicinal product and medical device are either co-packaged, or the medicinal product, according to its SMPC or patient information leaflet, is to be used with a specific device which is marketed separately. You may know these as a cross-label products. This slide shows examples of integral and non-integral combination products. Pre-filled syringes are an example of integral drug-device combinations which are regulated as a medicinal product. Here, the device is to deliver the drug. Drug-coated balloons or heparin-coated, for example, catheters are another examples of integral combination where the device has got the primary mode of action, and these are regulated as a medical device. Here, the drug is assisting the device to achieve its intended purpose. Non-integral products are examples when, for example, the delivery device has been co-packaged with the medicinal product, or the medicine needs to be administered using a dedicated non-integral medical device, which has been provided and co-packaged. And as I mentioned before, there could be that the medicinal product is marketed separately from the medical device. However, its labeling refers to a specific medical device which is separated, basically separately marketed. So now let's look at the integral drug-device combination. Article 1 of Medical Device Regulation refers to two types of integral drug-device combinations that are governed by Directive 2001/83 EC, which is the Medicinal Product Directive. First up is a medical device that incorporates as an integral part a medicinal product with principal mode of action being the medicinal product. Example of this is an ingestible sensor that is incorporated into a medicinal product. The second type is a medical device, which is used to administer a medicinal product, which is placed on the market in such a way that the two constituent parts are forming a single integral product, which is intended exclusively for use in the given combination and is not reusable. Example are pre-filled syringes or pre-filled pens or pre-filled inhalers. These products, these integral products, are basically regulated and governed by Directive 2001/83/EC or Regulation 726/2004 as applicable. However, the general safety and performance requirement of EU MDR Annex 1 apply as far as the safety and performance of device part of this combination. So here you will see that the two regulations are meshing together. So when an integral combination product is to be regulated as a medicinal product, to gain market access, the company must submit a marketing authorization application. We are now going to focus on documentation for such integral medicinal product in respect of a marketing authorization application. As a general principle, the assessment of the suitability of the device part for its intended purpose will take into account the general quality aspect of device part in the context of its use with the medicinal product, the complexity of the device, the relevant patient characteristics and user requirements, the clinical setting or use environments. The medicinal product dossier should include a description of the impact of the device on the quality target product profile, critical quality attributes, and overall control strategies of the medicinal product. Full details are given in a guideline that was published by European Medicine Agency in July 2021. So where to put the device information in the marketing authorization dossier and in what format? The requirement is that the format should be in the ECT format, and the information about the device should go in the module 3, section 3.2p for the drug product, and that should contain information on the product-specific quality aspects on the device part that may have an impact on the quality, safety, and or efficacy, and hence overall benefit risk determination of the medicinal product. And all the information about the, how the device part meets the requirement of the relevant GSPRs, the general safety and performance requirements for the device, will be going into the section 3.2R and including the usability study and the device risk assessment. And it's important to know that for single integral drug device combination products, product information should follow the requirements of the Medicinal Product Directive or regulation. It should not include any administrative information on the device part, such as CE marking, details of the device manufacturer, and so on. However, it should include information of the device part, which is necessary for the intended use of the integral medicinal product in the relevant section of the patient information leaflet and SMPC. So full details in guide has been provided in the guidance document that I mentioned that was published by EMA and on 22nd of July 2021. So now have a quick look. That's what goes into which part of the module 3.2p. So the 3.2p2 for the pharmaceutical development should summarize the information relevant to the development of specific medical device, including the rationale for its selections and basically aspects of compatibility, and all the information needs to be going there. For under say the P3, the manufacturer, detailed information on the assembly of the device, relevant specification, test methods, and their validations is required, including for the device sub-assemblies, and transportation studies needs to be included in this section as well. In the P5, for the control of drug product, appropriate tests for the specific, basically the whole combination, so all the functionality aspect of the device needs to be considered. P7, container closure system, should include the description of the container closure system, which here would be the device, and the quality control spec and so on. And in the P8, which is the stability, of course, you have to remember to include all the information on the functional performance of the device as well, including the in-use stability. And this has to cover from release to basically end of shelf life. So now let's look at the impact of EU MDR on single integral drug device combination products. Just a reminder that on 26th of May 2021, the new MDR came into full effect. Article 117 of MDR is a small article with huge impact. I have put a snapshot of this article on this slide. In brief, Article 117 is amending the Medicinal Product Directive. The marketing authorization application, the dossier, must include an EU certificate issued by a notified body, or it has to include basically notified body opinion report if there is no certificate of basically issued by a notified body. So let me walk you through the impact. So on the previous system, the pharma or biotech company would include all the information on the device in the marketing authorization application, submitted to the medicine agency or EMA, and then the medicine agency would conduct the entire review. However, under new regulation and under new system, the pharma and biotech needs to basically work with the notified body, obtain the notified body opinion report included into the basically in the marketing authorization application, and then basically submit the whole application to the medicine agency or European Medicine Agency. And just a reminder that the notified body opinion report is not the same as the certificate issued or CE mark, CE certificate. Here, the notified body opinion report is practically assessment against the GSPRs. It's only an opinion, not a certificate. And after basically after the approval, the notified body has no involvement unless there is a significant or substantial change to the device aspect. So what challenges this article has for the manufacturers of such products, single integral drug device combinations? First of all, is they have to identify and work with a designated notified body, which for some of the companies, this is new experience. Then they have to just compile and provide all the documentations and the details of to what level that these documentations should be provided, what type and what format is not very clear. The notified body timelines that they cause can differ because the notified bodies are private entities, and they basically there is no set timeline for the notified body opinion report based process. And considering that it's required to include the notified body opinion report in the marketing authorization dossier, there is a potential basically impact on the planned submission timelines. And as I mentioned before, in case of the significant change to the device, the notified body reassessment could be required. And there is no clear guidelines on the definition of significant changes for drug device combinations. And now some good news. And the good news is this article is not applicable to already licensed products unless there is a significant change to the device elements. It's not applicable to non-sterile, non-measuring, non-reusable class 1 devices, and to combine advanced therapy medicinal products, which are combined ATMPs. So what information the marketing authorization should submit to the notified body to obtain the notified body opinion report? With the aim of harmonization among the notified bodies, TeamMB published a position paper in April last year explaining what they expect to see. Practically, they are following the EU MDR requirements for the technical documentation as specified in Annex 2. And for those of you who are not familiar with the TeamMB, TeamMB is a European Association of Notified Bodies active in the medical device sector. So according to Annex 2 of MDR, the information that should be provided is device description, instruction for use, which is the product insert, package insert for the whole combination, and documentation of the GSPRs. So until now, I covered the single integral drug device combination, but as you know, there is another type of products that are non-integral combination products. I should point out that European Medicine Agency has separated these products from the drug device combination products. And the reason is that in these co-packaged or reference products, which is a medical device with a medicinal product, each component should follow its own legislation. So the co-packaged medical device must be CE marked before the combined product is placed on the market. And this responsibility sits with the marketing authorization holder, making sure that the device is appropriately CE marked. It also applies with a specific medical device that is referenced in the SMPC or patient information leaflet. Now let's look at the regulatory approval process for the integral drug device combination, which are regulated as a medical device. Just a reminder that in these type of products combinations, it's the medical device that has got the principal or primary mode of actions. In Europe, sometimes these are called device drug combination, which makes it easier to identify which legislation applies to them. So these must be a medical device, either EU medical device regulation first, and second, the drug must act in an ancillary way to the device and to be integral to the device. Example, drug-coated balloons or drug-eluting vascular stents. In Europe, in general, for the classification, medical devices are put in different classes, class 1, 2A, 2B, and class 3, with the class 3 being the highest risk classification. The combination products that are medical devices with ancillary medicinal substances, according to medical device regulations, Annex 8, they are class 3. In these, the medicinal product has ancillary action to the device, and they are regulated classified under Rule 14. Let's have a quick look at the EU market access for medical devices. So all medical devices, except for custom-made or investigational devices, must be CE marked before marketing or being put into service in EU. Manufacturers should establish, document, implement, and maintain a quality management system throughout the life cycle of the device, which is compliant with the medical device regulation. Prepare a technical documentation. If manufacturer is outside the European Union, they should appoint an authorized EU representative. Except for class 1 devices that can be self-certified, they have to lodge an application to a notified body. And depending on the route to conformity and the device risk classification, the notified body conducts the assessment and, if necessary, consult competent authorities or European medicine agencies and the expert panels. And when all these stages are successfully completed, notified body issues conformity certificate, which is valid for maximum of 5 years, which allows manufacturers to affix CE mark to the device, which itself allows free movement of the medical devices across the EU member states and where CE marking is accepted. So now let's look at the basically conformity assessment of the devices with ancillary medicinal substance. As I mentioned earlier, in these type of combination, the medicine is ancillary. These devices are class 3, the highest risk device, with Rule 14 of MDR being applicable. So for these devices, the notified body basically start assessment of the device and quality management system, and then they prepare a usefulness report as well. So basically the usefulness report is a summary report of the verification of the usefulness of the medicinal product that has been incorporated in the device, taking into account the intended use of the device, and basically then they will have to seek advice from competent authorities or European medicine agencies on the quality, safety, and benefit risk of the incorporation of the drug into the device. The whole process for this consultation, which is between notified body and the competent authority or EMA, is 210 days. But you should remember that there is always clock start, clock stops. That means that when there is a question raised, clock stops, and when the clock starts, when the competent authority receives the responses. So the process of 210 days, the timeline can be extended. And another reminder that in Europe, for human blood or plasma derivatives or medicinal product that falls exclusively within the scope of Annex to Regulation number 726/2004, notified body must seek the opinion of the European Medicine Agency. And when they receive basically the opinion from the competent authority or EMA, if and only if the opinion is positive, the notified body can move forward and certify the product. However, if it's negative, the notified body cannot certify the device. And noteworthy to say that there is no set time for the whole process from start to finish. Although there's 210 days for the consultation between notified body and a competent authority, for the whole process of CE certification of such devices, there is no set timeline. So what information do you have to include? Your documentation should cover information on both the device and the ancillary medicinal substance, not just one or the other. And remember that the expectation is the medicinal dossier should be as a standalone document, and this because this will be submitted by notified body to the competent authority or European Medicine Agency as part of consultation. The device technical documentation, so you might just know this one as a design dossier, although the term design dossier is no longer given in the EU medical device regulation, has to be per requirements of Annex 2 and Annex 3. Details of what is required is given in EU MDR. And so for the medicinal dossier, which I mentioned should be a standalone document, you should include a general information on the medical device, including the purpose of the ancillary medicinal substance and the critical appraisal of risk assessment results. And the requirements basically should include includes quality documentations as well. And that quality documentation is not just on the ancillary medicinal substance itself, but also you need to have information on how this ancillary medicinal substance has been incorporated in this device. And here you have to have all the control of intermediates, final product, stability, and so on needs to consider for both the device and the ancillary medicinal substance. And then you should include the non-clinical documentations that covers the PK studies, toxicity, and local tolerance. Is quite important because usually the route of administration of here for the ancillary medicinal substance could be different from what the ancillary medicinal substance is usually used. And remember that if there is a new chemical or biological entity, the full package on the non-clinical would be required. And also the clinical evaluation. The clinical evaluation could be basically a clinical investigation or data from literature on the device itself or on the equivalent devices that for which the equivalency has been demonstrated. And considering that these devices are class 3, the requirement is most of the time and mostly that the clinical investigation must be conducted for these combinations. And finally, the labeling and information supplied by manufacturers are basically required to be included in your submission. So here I've covered the basically combination products in Europe, and thank you for your attention. And if you've got any questions, I will be responding to your question during the Q&A session at the end of this session. Thank you very much.